Hi guys, my name is Vikas and I'm so excited to introduce you to my new course, Financing as a Freelancer. So what is this course? The goal of this course is to provide anyone who is either currently freelancing or considering freelancing with the simple knowledge, vocabulary, tools, and mental framework to understand the trade-offs between being an employee and being a freelancer, and then to set you up for long-term success if being a freelancer is something that you choose to do. So who is this course for? This course is intended for people who have little to no exposure about what it means to be a freelancer and are really interested in kind of dipping their toes into what that means. So there's really three groups of people that I'm thinking about here. First are those who are considering a freelance career and want to kind of learn what it means for them. So that, high school students, college students, people who are considering career transitions, this information is for you. Second, and this is a very common case, but people who have started freelancing and a year or two into their freelancing careers realize that they're kind of learning by fire and want to figure out some more information about how they can be more successful in their freelance businesses. This is definitely for you. Then last, but definitely not least, for mentors of any of the previous groups. So if you're the parent of a high school student who's considering being a professional dancer, or you're a dance studio owner for your professional track kids, you want to expose them to the financial realities of being a dancer, this information is for you. As a caveat, all of this information is going to be hyper American focused. It doesn't really apply to anyone outside the United States, unfortunately. And a lot of the examples are going to be focused on the arts and in particular dance, since that's my background. However, if you're from other industries, this information is still very applicable to you. Just most of the examples will be arts and dance focused. So what will we cover in specific? In specific, we will cover three main things. The first thing we will cover is the difference between being an employee and a freelancer. Most generations above mine, the vast majority of my parents or anyone older than me are all employees. And so there's not a ton of information out there on what it means to be a freelancer. There's a lot of misinformation, and there's very little information focused on the arts in particular. So the goal here is to kind of make it very clear what the difference between those two two methodologies of earning money is, so that you can understand those trade-offs and make the best decision for yourself. Second, we'll cover the increased responsibility of being a freelancer. What I mean by this is when you're a freelancer, there's a lot of things that you're responsible for that you are not responsible for when you are an employee. So when I say responsibility, I mean financial responsibility, paying increased taxes and covering your own healthcare. I mean legal responsibility. Since you're your own business as a freelancer, there's a lot of legal conundrums that come with that. And then the HR or admin responsibility of keeping track of your paperwork and your expenses and all those things. And then last but certainly not least in this course, particularly for dancers, we'll cover tips from a pro. So what types of things can you do to make your dance business more smooth and to spend more time on dancing or performing or teaching and less time on all the administrative and tax and other nonsense that comes with being a freelancer. So who am I and why am I giving you this information? My name is Vikas Arun. I'm a professional tap and contemporary dancer, teacher, and choreographer based out of New York City. I teach at Broadway Dance Center. I teach on 2 different dance conventions. I have my own tap dance company called Project Convergence. That is a company in residence at the American Tap Dance Foundation. My company has performed for the President of the United States, appeared on New York City Public Radio, performed at Lincoln Center, and done a bunch of other things. In addition to all of my dance work, I'm also a professional engineer, in specific a machine learning engineer. So I studied engineering at Columbia University, where I did my bachelor's and also was a Robert Gartland Fellow for my master's. I'm now an adjunct professor at Columbia University, and I am the engineering team lead at a startup based out of New York and DC. And so kind of what I learned from first being a full-time freelancer and then being a freelancer and an engineering employee is I realized this pretty insane dichotomy between how these two worlds operate. In the tech world, there is a lot of financial support provided to employees. Companies take it on as their responsibility to kind of educate their employees on the different sorts of financial options that they have open to them, and they do a very good job of setting their employees up for long-term financial stability and success well after they leave their respective companies. Whereas in the dance world, we do a particularly poor job of that. So, we focus a lot on making sure our dancers understand their bodies, whether it's in ballet or jazz or whatever. But then at 18, a lot of these dancers move to New York or Chicago or LA, and they have no idea how to set themselves up financially for success. And so the goal here is to kind of take all the information that I and many of my peers have learned in terms of trial by fire and making mistakes as a freelancer, and kind of set this up in a simple way and share that information with you so that any dancer or parent or teacher across the country can have access to that information, and kind of knows what they're getting themselves into when they're choosing a full-time dance career. And so they can make a smart and educated choice for themselves about what that means. So with that, like I said, my goal here is to keep it as simple as possible. If there's ever anything that I don't explain properly, or there's a new concept that I missed and that you would like me to cover, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know. I'm always here to answer your questions and give you as much information as I can. For legal reasons, I have to give you this disclaimer that I'm not a financial professional and I'm not a tax advisor. So I always recommend consulting whatever professionals you have within your network. But if you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer them. I'll leave my website below so that you can always reach out to me there. Thanks so much. I'm excited for you to join me on this journey, and let's get started.